So we're out there in Uganda filming this documentary, and we're maybe probably like 3/4 the way through. And I think it was Tiara, you, and myself, and we're talking about it, about the story and how we're moving forward. And we're like, wait, this is a story about a school, and we currently don't have any kids in it.
We had done those like little man on the street style interviews, but we didn't actually have a character that was a student.
Right, that we were following and moving forward. And we're like, oh man, what are we gonna do? And I think that's when Don was like, what about Obadiah? And we're like, huh?
Who's Obadiah?
Who's Obadiah? And he's like, oh yeah, he's Esborn's nephew, and he's head boy at the school, and he wants to be a journalist. And we're like, that's perfect. It's awesome. And Don was like, yeah, I also want to let him use my camera to see what it's like to be a photographer and to get some stuff. And I was like, that's awesome.
Well, we know where our story's going now.
Thank you so much.
It was. We talk about these like happy accidents a lot of something you don't intend, but it ends up being like crucial to your story. And that was one of them, where Don just spoke up and he's like, hey, so there's this kid. Why don't we use him? And we were all just like at once, yes, absolutely, we need to use him. That's an amazing story.
It was really cool to see. Like one, it was somebody that was so like integral and connected in so many different ways. Like one, it was Esborn's nephew, so he was like directly affected of the violence, of the conflict, and he wanted to move forward in his life. And he was also connected to Alfred because Obadiah was the head boy, and so a lot of our shots before we even knew it, he's in them because he is head boy talking in front of the whole school. And I remember like filming it one day. I was like, dear Jesus, thank you for giving us Obadiah. I think one of the coolest moments that we have in the film is seeing the Donnie-Obadiah relationship. Because one of the big things in school is learning English. If you can learn English, like the job potential for you is it skyrockets.
That was awesome.
That was funny. I want to keep that in there. Yeah. And Obi wanted to practice and Obadiah really wanted to practice his English. Yeah. And so Don was perfect for that. And so the interview that we did with Obadiah was kind of rough. But I think we really caught who Obadiah was. Yeah. But I think you really see his personality shine as soon as Donnie gives Obadiah his camera to practice with.
All right. Well, all right, important rule of photography. You gotta ask for permission first. So you gotta ask him, can I take your photo?
Can I take your photo?
No.
Can I take your photo?
No.
All right, then we keep moving. The good things about like trees and ducks is that they can't say no, so you can take photos of them anytime. Put it up to your face, your right eye. And press the button when you're ready. That was pretty good. Got your face in it. If you could tell any story of this camp or this community, like what would you want to tell?
Well, it's funny. We needed that relationship to develop because I even felt at times where I was like, I'm just a guy with a camera in front of you, and you don't see me as like somebody you really want to interact with. And so we needed that Donnie-Obi relationship to really flourish, and it did. Don did such a good job. I mean, he's just a kind-hearted guy in general, but he did such a good job of meeting Obadiah where he was at and just really asking good questions, making sure that Obadiah knew, we're not using you for this film, we're just telling your story. And we want you to be a part of it because we value your story, which is so crucial to like the end product of the film.
And Don was he cared a lot about Obadiah's future. And so we didn't want to just be these people that showed up and kind of like, gave him a camera just so we can film you. But Don was like, no, we need to set him up for success. Right. And so when we found out that Jackson, one of our guides, like actually was a videographer and photographer in the camp, we were like, no, we need to connect these people
Right.
because we want our film to be about connection and networking and growing together.
Jackson, this is Obadiah. And so Jackson is a refugee here as well. He's from South Sudan. And he has a shop actually in town, of like a photo shop. And you do lots of different stuff. You do videos, photos. But he's been hanging out with us for the past 3 months.
Yeah, welcome. Like as he said, I have this photo studio.
And it's something that never actually made the film, but we did connect them, and Obadiah is still working with Jackson in that manner, and I think that's awesome. And we see in the end credits, we have a little bit of that.
Yeah. It's just really neat to know that you're not leaving somebody without any hope of continuing their passions and their
Right.
dreams. Jackson's able to kind of foster him in that and really grow him in that. But yeah, I think it was like also just really neat hearing his dreams for his future and what he really wanted to be. And one of the things we kept asking a lot of people is, what do you want to be in the future? And he said, I want to be a journalist.
In South Sudan, my father has told me that if I put myself in education, I will be better in future. I'm dreaming even up now. When I am in education, education will help you in other ways. That if you have been educated, you will get money for helping yourself, helping also your parents. But if you do not be educated, you will be lost.
And why do you want to be a journalist?
Because I want to know more about the world, and I want to see what are people doing in other places.
And so his heart for journalism was really purposefully about helping his own people and helping them understand, like, how do we grow? How do we move forward?
Right.
How can we learn from other people around us? And
Yeah.
it was neat seeing that there's this selfless motivation in a lot of the students. Obadiah is also, he's the kind of kid that other kids can aspire to. He's taking ownership over his future. He knows he has these dreams and these desires, and that means he has to do well in school. And so he's working hard in school. He's actually practicing his dreams. So he doesn't just want to be a journalist. He's trying to be a journalist now. So he went and told stories about a soccer game, and he was telling the story of how school was how Hope Primary School was started.
Yeah.
He's actually taking action, which is neat. And so he gets to be an example to the other students of, I can do this too. And so we got to see him really also just leading the student body.
And even if he doesn't become a journalist in the future, I know it's that drive, like underneath, that maybe we were able to help kind of foster, like, no, you can do this, that I think that will propel him
For sure.
really farther. Because I know all of their goals, all of the students' goals is to go to secondary school. In order to do that, they have to get like top performance at Hope Primary in order to get a scholarship even to afford secondary school. And so that is like the main thing people are looking for. And the only way they can do that is through our help. And I know that the Greater Hope Project has it set up for us to sponsor like secondary students. And so we just want to make sure this generation really does impact the future in a real positive way, because they definitely can.
Yeah.